And we are live. We're live. Yay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Align You TV. I'm Amanda Steadman, and this is Krystal Hille from Hille House Publishing. And I've known her a few months now, and she's always delivered amazing material. So I'm delighted that she's here with us today. She's been on a very interesting journey, and I want her to share some of that with you. And we're also going to talk about publishing and how to get your book written. And she's also launching an amazing book, which I've read, and it is amazing, called The Aligned Author. So Krystal, just tell us a little bit about you and who you serve.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have a chat with you. So I don't like labels, but so we'll just come right to the essence. I feel the reason why the thing that lights me up is to empower myself to be all of who and what I am, and that curiosity of helping others to do the same. It's like, why are we not doing that? Why are we being sidetracked? Why do we sabotage who we are? Those questions, and why do we tick, and what makes us who we are, have been with me ever since I was a teenager. Like these deep questions about the meaning of life, I've just taken them to a very interesting place, and that exploration got me into studying literature and figuring out why characters and people in literature do that. I studied English and theater studies, and then brought stories and these conflicts that we have as humans, brought them alive on stage to entertain, but also to empower both the actors to fully embody their unique essence through the characters, and also then give the audience a really profound and transformational experience so that they could see themselves in the characters that they saw on stage. And that quest, we're always evolving in life. So that door closed, and another door opened now that I had more life experience, that brought me into life coaching, NLP, Tantra, all again to follow this quest of how can we live our best life? How can we really embody all of who we are and write new stories, write empowering stories. So that's what I used to help my clients. I ran events in Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney. I'm originally from Germany, now in Australia. That's a long story, publishing synchronicities as well as how I got there, for another day. And then the publishing door opened once that coaching door closed. But the coaching door closed in a really interesting way. It was during COVID. It was when I divorced, and it was not able to really hold space for anybody but myself and my children, barely. So that's when I was putting out the call to the universe, like, okay, what now? I have always been a free spirit. I've always been a creative. I'm not employable. How am I going to earn this? How am I going to put food on the table for my kids and myself? So, of course, as always, universe answered. And then I came across this publishing training, and my whole body just said yes. And I didn't understand it. It was like, how am I empowering people being a publisher? And sure enough, but I followed it, I trusted it. And as I was continuing to do it, I realized that that's exactly what we do when we help, particularly entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers, writing their books and sharing their experiences. And so that's what I do now. I help those conscious entrepreneurs who are also having this quest to empower, to be all of who we are, and helping their clients to do that. I now help them to bring their wisdom into a book, and through teaching memoirs or business books, so that they can be the thought leader that they are, because that's what happens, as you know, when we write a book. There's something that changes within us. We go on a transformation and really embody the message that we teach and share.
Exactly what I don't know if you can see behind me, but that's one of mine there, and then there's one here which is the children's book, which was channeled, which I know that we've spoken about. It's literally channeled, a children's book, in like 4 minutes. That doesn't happen very often. And the other book was channeled, but it took me 3 years to get it to publish. And Krystal, I've had that discussion as well about when you go to publish a book, you do go through that journey of what are people going to think. And I interviewed another author last week, Elizabeth Bykoff, who's about to launch a book about her journey going from France, living her dream in America, and being very successful. And it was like, what are people going to think when that book comes out? Because a lot of us, I know a lot of the things you deal with, Krystal, are non-fiction. So it's not characters, it's our journey. and there are real people in that book. So were there any things when you were writing The Aligned Author, which we'll move on to shortly, where you kind of went, oh, was there any, because a lot of us authors go through fear before we publish. Can you just make a comment on that for people that are sitting there, they want to write a book, but they're just a little bit scared for even taking that first step because of what people think?
With The Aligned Author, I actually had the opposite challenge of how do I bring myself more into the book, because it was all about my experience with the authors that I'd gone through and how how I helped them to overcome their challenges. And I guess in a way it was, well, I'm letting people into my process. I'm letting people into behind the scenes of how I work with my clients. So yeah, I guess there was a little bit of that. And as it came to the promotion, I realized that I wasn't doing as much as I probably could. And so then I realized, okay, there is a visibility wound here, and that perhaps I'm not, whilst I want to share this with everyone, yes, what will people think? Absolutely. And then I think for me and for everyone, what I say to my clients and what I told myself and my inner child is that it is not about you. It's about how your book can serve your clients and future clients. It's never about us.
Yeah, exactly. Really important point. And I work with a lot of clients. I know you know that I'm a business mentor and I'm a hypnotherapist and channeler. And a lot of people come to me, especially business people, and they're blocked with sales, and they're blocked with being visible. They're blocked with getting their gifts out there. And I was actually doing a session yesterday with a client, and I said, I'm being really kind, tough love here, but it's not about you. It's not about you. And they had some issues with, gender, that kind of thing. And I just said, look, it's about the client. And when we realize that, we get through our fear of, are we good enough? Are we, are our gifts good enough? And we just go out and serve, and we try and test. And the great thing about a book is you can go back and re-edit. I took it to the nth degree. I was editing 12 hours before the first book came out. Don't do that. But yeah.
No, don't. I just actually 3 days ago, I did a minor rewrite. It's like, oh, there. And, I can, because I'm the publisher. And so I can quickly just do, but yeah, don't do that. And this is the thing, like we never know when is good enough, right? When can we say, okay, in this current incarnation, this is what I need to put out? Because like you and I and the people we work with, we evolve every 5 minutes, it feels, because we're constantly growing and expanding. And so there's constantly new things that are coming through. It's like, oh, that thought needs to go into the book. And I was like, no, for now, what you have is a cohesive, beautiful book. This is for the next incarnation, maybe the next book, maybe for social media. But right now you just need to leave the book. And this is where, that inner perfectionism comes in, and we have to be really kind with ourselves and say, no, it's, yeah. And I do talk about perfectionism in the book as well, and where it comes from and how we can deal with it. And it's just so much kindness and compassion to the human that we are,
Yeah, I got a little bit of a sneak preview, everyone. And as I was going through, I made notes, is there going to be anything on perfection? And then there was, as we went further into book. And I'm like, good, because as an author, it is something that comes up. And, I've done 3 books now, and every one I do, I have to get to the point, like you say. It's funny because the other author, Elizabeth, said the same thing last week. She went, when is good enough, and we all go through that process. The most important thing is that you get something out there. And obviously we want it to be of quality. And I have to say, my first book, I didn't get edited properly. And because I was self-published as well, there was a few typos in there, the odd thing. So when I did the second version a couple of years later, then I made sure I had a professional editor to go through it and stylize it in a way that, was slightly better than the way that I did it. So yeah, always get a professional editor before you launch. At least, in my mind, I was like, done's better than perfect. And it still did really well. It got to despite all of that, it got to number 1 in the Amazon self-help category, which I'm really pleased with. And even now we're 12 years on, and I'm still using the phrase number 1 Amazon bestseller, because it was. And I have to say, it was slightly easier back then.
Yeah, I think if you know what you're doing, you can still make it happen. Like, I've not had a single book that's not been a number 1 bestseller or international bestseller, even with a solo book. And that's what people ask me. Well, I don't have a big list. I don't know what to do. It's like, it's just about strategy and planning, and it always happens. And it's a nice thing to be able to say. Yeah.
So what's going to be happening with your book launch? Talk us through the process so that we can get other budding authors excited.
Yeah, so the book launches on the 28th of April. Wherever you are in the world, it's the 28th. I'm not doing, the same time everywhere. And then I have a book launch celebration. It literally is like a get together where I share a little bit about the book, but I'm also taking everyone through a transformational experience. I'm asking some really deep questions that we're going to be talking about and discussing as a group. So it's like a workshop / celebration of the book where everybody will come out feeling just really more deeply connected with who they truly are. I believe that's my intention, and because we're going to go into, and then the realization also, well, actually it's easier than I thought, and to write a book. So that is the other intention that I have there, to open the door to seeing what is possible, how could it work for me. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen on the Thursday in North America, and Friday the 2nd of May in Australia. And Amanda, just really importantly, like the book, the book is really, it's the hero's journey applied to the author. And I think that's really important. So it's not a book on how to write or how to publish. It's how do you overcome the inner demons? How do you deal with the tests and the trials and the inner enemies and the outer enemies? And how do you gain allies on your journey to writing that book so that you don't become one of the 80% of people who want to write a book but actually never do? Because that was my quest. That was the initial thing. It's like, what can I contribute? What can I write about in where there's so many books on writing already? How can I write a book that actually solves a problem that people have? And staying with the cause of actually finishing a book is one massive problem I've encountered. So I have a lot to say on that, and that's what the book really is about.
Excellent. I'm just putting the link into the chat now, and I will put it below the video. So you can click on that link and find out exactly what's happening with the book launch. Sign up so you can be involved. And I believe, can they get pre-copies? Can they pre-order copies yet, Krystal? Is that possible?
I am not doing pre-orders. I'm just doing everyone ordering on the 20th. But if you are signing up to the book launch celebration, you will be notified saying, here it is. There's the link. Buy it now.
Okay, so we're going to have some nice reminders to remember to buy it on the day, because I know that each of those purchases count towards getting you seen by other authors that need this book. Are there any particular parts of the book that your favorite, either a quote or a section which you really enjoyed the most and you're really looking forward to people absorbing?
The one story that I was most involved in, there's 4 characters in the book. They are all, each one has a different trauma, dysfunctional attachment style, so that everybody can see themselves in them. And so the one that I was most emotionally involved in writing was the one in the ordeal of the perfectionist, because that was actually, in that moment, it was me, oh my God, this has been the avoidant attachment style. That's been the one where I was really feeling the most. And I had actually just gone into, how we go in waves, and no matter how secure we are, sometimes the perfectionism kicks in. And so I was literally, as always, when it comes to book writing, I was just writing about the ordeal when I was experiencing my biggest ordeal in this book writing journey as well. And so that story about Sarah, just having an absolute meltdown because she's struggling with her perfectionism, was the one that I really enjoyed writing the most. And I poured my heart and soul into that because I was in that moment right there with her. Yeah, so that story I think will resonate with many people.
And for those people that are, like you say, that there's, I think 80% of the world's population want to write a book but won't get round to it. What words of wisdom or encouragement or motivation would you say to those that are thinking about writing a book right now?
It's all about just sitting down and taking the time of, why do you want to write that book? Because often we think, I'll do it someday when I'm not so busy. But to bring it into the now, it's about understanding the importance that it has towards your overall purpose, which is, the book will help you reach more people. And isn't that what we want to do? So if the book can do that, why do we delay it? Why do we distract ourselves with other really come into your why me, why now? And that answer will then become the driving force that you keep coming back to focus on writing that book.
Got it. Okay. And I know in terms of the aligned author, we worked together on going through different titles and the focus, etc., over the last few months. Why did you settle on the title, The Aligned Author? Why is that so important now?
Yeah, I think alignment is the most. Why is that important? When we're in alignment with who we are and that true north and that purpose, the doors will open because our frequency is pure, it's clear. There's no distractions, and people will feel that. And I think that's why it's really important to keep coming back to who am I? Why do I do what I do? And keep aligning back to our purpose and our mission so that we have that clear frequency. People can see us and feel us when we're coming from that place of deep alignment.
And I think with all the things that are going on in the world, alignment is extremely important across the board. And I have to say, we met a few months ago. You were on one of our summits, and there was aligned was in the title, the Aligned Business Summit. And as I was revamping my brand and my channel, alignment kept coming up again and again. That alignment is the through line for me and many of us right now. So that's why we went with Align You TV, because it says everything to do with alignment, align you. That's our goal. And it's the same with your book. Align yourself as an author so that you can be your authentic self and vibrate at the vibration that people will find the book, will resonate with you, and will take the action that they need to be that aligned person, that aligned author, that aligned parent, because that's where the power is at now. It's about being in the now. It's about being authentic. The old ways of selling and marketing have gone. It's all about being who you are and educational marketing and just saying, hey, here's my information. Here's how I can help you. I invite you to work with me. It's a very different to what it was a few years ago. And that's why, again, we're doing these interviews so that I can say, hey, here's Krystal. Who resonates with Krystal? Jump in, do her book. And I know that you have some excellent courses that help people write books as well. So if you could tell us just a little bit about that, that would be great.
Yes, so the one course where people can write their solo book with me, with my guidance, is called the Aligned Author Sanctuary. And it basically brings the content of the book to life, but also gives some strategic planning of how does your book align with your business goals. So we go through that. I help with structure. I then help with accountability, talking through the ideas, but then also setting some really clear goals. Because as we know, when we work in a group and in a community with a mentor, things happen because we're in this bubble of let's make this happen. And there is somebody holding your vision with you, even when you may have a wobble. And so I think, so that's the Aligned Author Sanctuary. Is a 4-month program. It's beautiful. We're not just talking, we're talking about the inner as well as the outer. We're working with intuition as well as with strategy.
Amazing, amazing. Well, Krystal, I want to keep it short and sweet today so that everybody absorbs the whole of this video and the whole of your goodness and just gets a little flavor of Krystal and what she can offer regarding the Aligned Author. So I highly recommend you sign up for the book launch and get a little bit more of Krystal. And she is going to take you through a transformative process on that day. So the link is now below. I'll put it a couple more times underneath the video. And this will also be going out to my social media, and I'll put it under all of those videos as well. So if any of you are just a little bit curious, then do connect with Krystal, sign up for the book launch, and get a copy of the Aligned Author. It will stand you in very good stead, and you'll be in her sphere there, and she'll be able to help you when you want to take things to the next level. So Krystal, thank you very much for joining us today on Align You TV. We are I'm going to say Aligned Author. I'm going to say Aligned Author TV. See, it's already in there, Krystal, Aligned Author TV. So thank you for joining us on this aligned path. We are very happy that you're here, and we know that you are here for a reason. And for those that are watching on the replay, again, the link will be below. We want the best for you. We look forward to serving you and seeing you on the next show. So Krystal, thank you again for beaming in so early from Australia. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing the Aligned Author at #1.
Thank you.
Take care, darling. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye for now.